Long before there was any country called Germany, the heart of Europe was a vast landscape of forests, rivers, and open plains shaped by retreating glaciers. As the Ice Age ended, small bands of hunter-gatherers moved into these fertile lands. Over time, farming communities replaced wandering tribes, building settlements along the great rivers that would later define the region: the Rhine, the Danube, and the Elbe. By the final centuries before Christ, Central Europe was divided culturally. Celtic tribes dominated much of the south, while in the north, Germanic peoples, who had gradually migrated down from Scandinavia, established themselves across the forests and plains. Over generations, the Germanic tribes expanded, absorbing or displacing the Celtic populations and spreading across the region. Their growing presence soon drew the attention of a rising Mediterranean superpower, Rome. In the 1st century BC, Roman armies under leaders such as Julius Caesar pushed toward the Rhine River, encountering the fiercely independent Germanic tribes. Roman forces crossed into what they called Germania, but holding the territory proved far more difficult than entering it. The decisive moment came in 9 AD, when a coalition of Germanic warriors ambushed and destroyed 3 Roman legions in the dense Teutoburg forest. The defeat shocked the Roman world. After this disaster, Rome abandoned its ambition of conquering Germania entirely. Instead, the empire fixed its frontier along the Rhine and Danube rivers, building fortified border defenses to mark the edge of Roman power. Even so, Roman influence lingered. Cities such as Cologne, Mainz, and Regensburg flourished under Roman administration. Trade, military service, and cultural exchange connected Roman and Germanic worlds. Germanic warriors served in Roman armies, while Roman goods, pottery, tools, and coins flowed across the frontier. Yet, beyond the borderlands, Germanic society retained its distinct identity. Power rested with warrior elites. Communities revolved around agriculture. Their religion honored gods like Odin and Thor long before Christianity arrived. Everything changed in the late 4th century. From the vast Eurasian steppe came the Huns, fierce mounted warriors whose arrival triggered a chain reaction across Europe. Germanic tribes fled westward in massive migrations, pressing into Roman territory. The Western Roman Empire, already weakened, struggled to contain them. Over the 5th century, Germanic kingdoms replaced Roman rule. The Visigoths sacked Rome in 410. The Vandals moved into North Africa. The Franks carved out power in Gaul. By 476, the Western Roman Empire had fallen. From its ruins rose new kingdoms that blended Roman administration with Germanic leadership. Among them, the Franks proved the most durable. Under King Clovis I, they united large parts of modern France and Western Germany, laying the groundwork for future European states. In the east, meanwhile, Slavic peoples settled lands once inhabited by Germanic tribes, reshaping the ethnic landscape. The next major transformation came in the 8th century with the rise of Charlemagne. Through conquest and forced conversion campaigns, particularly against the pagan Saxons, he expanded his empire across much of Western and Central Europe. On Christmas Day in the year 800, he was crowned emperor in Rome, symbolically reviving the Western imperial title. Though his empire did not long survive intact, the idea of a revived Roman Empire in the German lands endured. This concept would evolve into what later became known as the Holy Roman Empire. In 962, Otto I, later called Otto the Great, was crowned emperor, solidifying a German-led imperial structure in Central Europe. Yet, despite the grand title, the empire was never a centralized nation. Instead, it was a patchwork of duchies, bishoprics, counties, and free cities, each jealous of its autonomy. By the late Middle Ages, political fragmentation defined the German lands. However, culturally, a shared identity was emerging. Gothic cathedrals towered over cities like Cologne and Strasbourg. Universities flourished. Trade leagues connected northern ports across the Baltic and North Seas. German knights joined crusades, and merchants carried goods across Europe. The 16th century brought a spiritual earthquake. In 1517, a monk named Martin Luther challenged the authority of the Catholic Church. His writings spread rapidly thanks to the printing press, igniting the Protestant Reformation. German territories split along religious lines. Princes chose sides, some out of conviction, others for political independence. Religious tensions erupted into decades of conflict, culminating in the devastating 30 Years' War beginning in 1618. Much of Germany became a battlefield. Armies marched, cities burned, famine and disease spread. By the war's end in 1448, millions were dead, and some regions had lost half their population. The Peace of Westphalia reinforced political fragmentation. Hundreds of small states remained scattered across the German lands, but two powers steadily rose above the rest: Austria and Prussia. Austria, ruled by the Habsburg dynasty, dominated imperial politics from Vienna. Meanwhile, in the north, Prussia transformed itself into a disciplined military state. Under rulers like Frederick the Great, it emerged as a major European power after a series of bold wars in the 18th century. At the same time, German culture flourished. Thinkers such as Immanuel Kant, writers like Goethe and Schiller, and composers including Bach and Beethoven shaped European intellectual life. A shared language and culture strengthened the idea that Germans belonged together. Then came the French Revolution and Napoleon. By 1806, Napoleon had defeated Austria and Prussia and dissolved the Holy Roman Empire, ending an institution that had lasted nearly 1,000 years. Though French domination was resented, it awakened the powerful new force: nationalism. After Napoleon's defeat, the Congress of Vienna in 1815 created a loose German confederation, yet calls for unity continued to grow. In 1848, revolutionaries demanded constitutional government and national unification. Their movement failed, but the dream survived. The man who ultimately achieved unification was Otto by Bismarck. Through a calculated series of wars against Denmark, Austria, and finally France, Bismarck united the German states under Prussian leadership. In January 1871, inside the Palace of Versailles, King Wilhelm I of Prussia was proclaimed German Emperor. A new empire was born. Industrialization accelerated rapidly. By 1900, Germany was one of the world's leading industrial and scientific powers. Its factories, railways, and universities rivaled Britain and the United States. But rising strength also bred tension. Under Kaiser Wilhelm II, Germany pursued a more aggressive foreign policy, expanding its navy and seeking global influence. Europe divided into rival alliance systems. In 1914, after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, those tensions exploded into the First World War. Germany fought on multiple fronts. After years of brutal trench warfare and mounting losses, defeat came in 1918. The Kaiser abdicated. The Treaty of Versailles imposed severe penalties on Germany, fueling anger and instability. The Weimar Republic struggled under economic crises and political extremism. In 1933, Adolf Hitler rose to power, establishing a totalitarian regime based on nationalism, militarism, and racial ideology. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland, triggering the Second World War. After years of devastating conflict and unimaginable atrocities, Nazi Germany collapsed in 1945. The country lay in ruins. In the aftermath, Germany was divided. The Western zones became the Federal Republic of Germany, a democratic state aligned with the West. The Eastern zone became the German Democratic Republic, a communist state under Soviet influence. In 1961, the Berlin Wall physically split the nation in two. For nearly 40 years, Germany stood at the center of the Cold War divide. Then, in 1989, peaceful protests in East Germany forced change. On November 9th, the Berlin Wall opened. Crowds crossed freely for the first time in decades. In 1990, Germany was officially reunified. Since then, the country has rebuilt itself as a stable democracy and economic powerhouse. Today, Germany stands as Europe's largest economy and a leading voice in international affairs. Its history, marked by fragmentation, faith, war, division, and renewal reflects the broader story of Europe itself, a land repeatedly tested, yet capable of reinvention.